appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTv News, expanding your view.
Good afternoon, CoreTv News on the hour. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. President Goodluck Jonathan has assured parents of the kidnapped Chibok schoolgirls that they will be brought back alive. This was part of the promises he personally made during a long-drawn meeting with the parents and about 50 girls who escaped from insurgents.
These are the girls who escaped on the day Boko Haram insurgents stormed their school in April this year. One after the other, they filed into the presidential villa for a meeting with President Jonathan. They were accompanied by some of the parents of their colleagues who have spent more than 3 months in captivity. A handful of cabinet members joined the president as well as the governors of Borno and Bauchi State. Journalists were barred from the meeting, which lasted more than 5 hours. So it was left to the presidential spokesman to give an insight into what he described as a frank session.
The president reassured them of the federal government's determination and his personal determination to ensure that the girls that are still in captivity are brought out alive. He made it clear that that is the main objective of the government. Mr. President also used the opportunity to empathize with the parents, with the girls, and to reassure them that everything will be done to make things easier for them, particularly the ones that have already escaped and the ones that will also be rescued. Mr. President assured them that their education will not in any way suffer, and that after all of this has had a happy ending, because he believes, he is convinced that evil will never prevail over good.
Some of the ministers who were in the meeting are also convinced that the Chibok girls will soon be reunited with their parents and colleagues.
To some of the girls that were able to escape from Sambisa forest, or those of them that escaped even on the first day they were abducted. And I think the parents were happy to have listened to Mr. President, assuring them of the commitment of government, assuring them of the determination of government to rescue the abducted girls, and in particular assuring those of them that are now home with their parents on the continuation of their education and continued protection of lives and properties in those communities.
Yeah, essentially, the expectation of the average Nigerian is the release of the girls. But there must be foundations for the release of these girls. While this thing cannot be done almost immediately, while efforts are being put in place, there is equally a need for Mr. President to reassure the people that are directly involved and Nigerians that government is doing everything that is necessary to release these girls. And I can assure you that from various reports that are coming in, and Mr. President knows much more than any other person knows in this country about this situation, the release of these girls will be a matter of time.
One of the governors also provided a different perspective.
What the presidency was aware of was certainly, yes, the insurgents have gone into the school, gone into the village, picked students and picked some women too. So to say that it is belated that the government didn't know about it until now, I think that is very unfair. Rushing to, rescue them might lead to, some casualties, which is why government is taking time, going solo, so that by the grace of God, we'll get all the girls in peace, not in pieces.
More than 200 people attended the meeting from Chibok, including 51 of the 57 girls who escaped from insurgents. But none of them was prepared to share details of their interaction with the president.
An associate fellow of the Henry Jackson Society and the Jamestown Foundation, Jacob Bent, says former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton misled President Barack Obama on the enormity of the threat of Boko Haram. The situation, he says, stopped America from coming to Nigeria's aid before the insurgency got out of hand. Then made this allegation in his report exposing and defeating Boko Haram, why the West must unite to help Nigeria defeat terrorism, which was released by the Bill Group on Tuesday. He said the U.S. only labeled Boko Haram and its offshoot Ansar as of November 13, 2013, after Clinton's departure from office, making it a crime for Americans to provide material support to the group and enabling banks to freeze U.S. assets of the terrorists. He further alleged that Boko Haram received finances from domestic actors who oppose President Jonathan and foreign sponsors who want to see Nigeria divided and Western economic interests attacked. Now, after the successful impeachment of the former governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, reports of impeachment threats are beginning to rise across the country. Rashid spoke with some leaders of the All Progressive Congress, APC, who outright blamed the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, for the travels of some APC governors. The report.
The news lately is centered on the impeachment fever that is gradually gripping some sitting governors. The most affected are the All Progressives Congress. Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako was successfully impeached by the State House of Assembly. The tension has now shifted to Nasarawa State, where Tankwal Makura is facing impeachable charges. But the Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, reportedly being on impeachment radar, however debunked such rumor as shallow and unfounded.
It was just a ruse. It was just a cheap publicity. It can never happen. Tell me, remember I say so. It can never happen. I'm going to win second term. No impeachment.
Another APC chieftain and a 7th senator, Sholade, using the Adamawa drama as a case study, says the impeachable offenses allegedly committed by Murtala Nyako is also being committed by President Goodluck Jonathan.
The principal allegation against Governor Nyako was that he spent money that had not been budgeted for. A week before they pronounced that impeachment, the Nigerian Senate debated a report that showed that our own president spent billions of naira that were never budgeted for.
Pro-democracy activists and APC stalwart Amito Lushitu says every impeachment act is a call to political instability in the country, orchestrated by the PDP-controlled central government.
Legal, illegal removal of Adamawa State Governor. The consciousness of people in Adamawa, they wake it up. And those in Nasarawa will not sleep again. The Mr. President will wake up the consciousness of the people in Benin. And the whole nation will engulf with crisis. For God's sake, is that not a threat to democracy?
A former speaker of the Osun State House of Assembly, Majid Alabi, however, called on all stakeholders involved to make a recourse on impeachment cases for the sake of Nigeria's nascent democracy.
The impeachment process is put in the Constitution as a mechanism of the legislature to put the governors in check, not to be used as a mechanism of vendetta. It is not to be used as an instrument to use the legislature to win them into taking action that are at variance with the popular wish of the mandate of the people. And that is why we must caution whoever, whether as an individual or as group that are behind this thing, that they should tread softly, because eventually the spate of impeachment without following the due process of the Constitution may consume the entirety of the democracy, and everyone will have him or herself to blame.
Some observers say the rampant cases of impeachment threats across the country is a strategy adopted by politicians to clinch power in the 2015 general elections. Rashid, CoreTv News, Ejigbo.
Eternal vigilance, they say, is the price of democracy. Now, away from impeachment, the military has been urged to refrain from acts capable of undermining the current democratic experience in the country. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola gave the advice while hosting the Chief of Army Staff Kenneth Minima at the State House Marina. Fashola says professionalism is needed to combat the current security challenges facing the nation.
The military then owes an obligation to do everything that is possible to sustain the democracy and to refrain from doing anything that undermines it, whether in the minds of the people or as a matter of fact. This institution has done very well for Nigeria as a body, but there, like every institution, every family, there are bad eggs within the institution. They are in the minority. And we must continue to do everything possible to show them up for who they are.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll give you more stories. Don't go away.
Nigerians continue to
Tonight, the city of Lagos waits at the dock as all routes
Be the first to know.
CoreTv News
From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTv News.
Welcome to CoreTv.
A 24-hour news station.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTv News.
Now moving on, European Union foreign ministers say they believe an arms embargo against Russia needs to be considered after the downing of a Malaysian Airlines plane widely blamed on pro-Moscow rebels. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond said the tragedy happened because of Russian support for the rebels. An EU leaders summit recommended that the European Union extend its sanctions against Russian and Ukraine figures for their role in the crisis. But the downing of flight MH17 had changed the situation completely, Hammond said. British Prime Minister David Cameron had called on the EU to adopt tougher Phase 3 sanctions and to halt all arms sales to Russia, citing specifically a French contract for 2 helicopter carriers worth 1.2 billion euros. That's all. Thanks for watching. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Good afternoon. I'll see you again on top of the hour.